why Donald Trump won. Because people sit around saying the things we all agree should happen are impossible.
Donald Trump won. Go ahead, continue.
I'm just saying, like, we all agree on the goals. We all agree that targeted tariffs are good. We all want to reshore manufacturing for specific
targeted tariffs.
But then you sit around and everyone says, but it's impossible to do this stuff. That's why he didn't do it in a targeted way. Because nice people who are very organized and do things very carefully do not take on the entire country and the entire country and the entire Wall Street on behalf of the forgotten working class of this country.
Will we please stop this forgotten working class?
We will not, sir. We will not,
I'll tell you why.
Who would have thought that Batya Ungar-Sargon would become one of the most common sense voices for Donald Trump? Now, she was sitting in Scott Jennings' seat last night on the Abby Phillip CNN show, and she just cooked all these clowns. Let's have a look.
Here's the way I think they're thinking about it. It feels like the direction they're heading in is that what Trump basically wants is for our allies to consume a lot more of our products and for China to produce a lot less of what we consume. And so I think what he's going for is a kind of soft global embargo on China. And the way that he went about doing that is he basically picked up a baseball bat and said to the entire global elites, that's a really nice stock market you've got. It would be a shame if anything happened to it. And the reason that I think that that was effective is, I mean, Lutnick is saying that they could never have gotten such good deals if that pressure that you're actually describing wasn't there. But I think that that was more designed for a domestic audience. And the reason that I think that is this. I've been thinking a lot about the 10 million Americans who lost their homes in the 2008 financial crisis and how President Obama's first act in office was to give $700 billion to the banks that caused it, including $30 billion in bonuses to the crooks who organized it. And I'm thinking about how those very Americans saw a president pick Wall Street over Main Street, and what they saw this whole week was a president willing to go out there and fight for the forgotten men and women of this heartland and take on the entire international global order.
First of all, you cannot say.
We actually probably all agree that there are certain things that for our national security, we absolutely have to be manufacturing.
100%. I think everybody agrees on that.
Pharmaceuticals, chips, steel, aluminum, microchips. Steel and aluminum. Trump slapped 25% tariffs on China on them in his first term. And the price went up for about 4 months, and then it came right back down because we have a very healthy free market economy within America. And the average steel worker who works, by the way, in the South, so these are in right-to-work states, these are not union jobs, makes $88,000 a year. This is why manufacturing is so coveted.
So
I guess my question to you, Abby, would be, so we all acknowledge that this manufacturing has to be done here.
I get that.
So where's the disconnect?
But those targeted, I mean, even if I'm not going to pass judgment on the Trump 1.0 tariffs. It's complex, right? But even if that were the case, those are much more targeted than what he is trying to do right now. And what he's trying to do right now is like slap tariffs on toys coming out of Vietnam as if that is like the future of American manufacturing when it's not. And those things are not as important for our national security. And all they do is raise prices on everyday Americans. I think that's the part that I'm not understanding.
Well, right now, there's only a 10% tariff on Vietnam because that's the standard across for 90 days.
But I'm talking about what he announced on the so-called Liberation Day.
Vietnam has said they're going to drop their tariffs to zero. So the thing about Trump is he loves tariffs because he thinks they do a lot of things. They protect our national security. They reshore manufacturing. They raise revenues.
But tariffs do not reshore manufacturing.
They raise revenues.
They do not.
Tariffs
by themselves do not reshore
manufacturing.
You have to also do other things to encourage manufacturing in the country.
The original tariff on China, during his first term, $30 billion new steel plants in Arkansas, state-of-the-art steel plants being built in Arkansas.
Look at the research.
1,000 steel jobs were created. 75,000 jobs that rely on steel were lost. Those are the facts.
Yes, absolutely.
The Peterson Institute has well and truly documented steel tariffs, solar panel tariffs, all of them from the first administration. And yes, there were certain gains, important gains. There were also heavy losses. And there's a reason No country does this in this particular way because historically it hasn't worked. The country doing the general tariffing always loses in the end.
This is why Donald Trump won. Because people sit around saying the things we all agree should happen are impossible.
Donald Trump won. Go ahead, continue.
I'm just saying, like, we all agree on the goals.
Yes,
we all agree that targeted tariffs are good. We all want to reshore manufacturing for specific
targeted tariffs.
But then you sit around and everyone says, but it's impossible to do this stuff. That's why he didn't do it in a targeted way. Because nice people who are very organized and do things very carefully do not take on the entire country and the entire country class and the entire Wall Street on behalf of the forgotten working class of this country.
Will we please stop this forgotten working class?
We will not, sir. We will not,
I'll tell you why. Because
ever notice how Abby Phillip will never interrupt somebody that she agrees with? Only people she doesn't agree with. That's when she steps in all the time, cutting off Scott Jennings every 2 seconds. It's getting worse and worse and worse. There's actually rumors going around in the CNN mill that she's quite jealous of Scott Jennings because the views are higher when he's on the network. And of course, they would be, because then Republicans or conservatives will also watch the show. When he's not there, it's just a bunch of libs on there, and we are not interested in just watching a bunch of liberals agree on everything, because we know what your skewed point of view is. But before I leave you, Batya was on Newsmax. And here's a clip. I thought it was pretty good, so I put it in here. Let's get it.
Do you know what is so amazing about this whole tariffs saga? The Americans who have the least are willing to say, you know what? Maybe I don't need that extra piece of crap from China. Maybe I'm going to make a little bit less in my 401k if it means that my children have a future. And meanwhile, you look at Wall Street, where people who are losing, yes, a lot of money, but who will, let's be honest, never be poor. In fact, they will never not be rich, no matter how this ends. And they are unwilling to donate a single penny to the future of this nation. It's so utterly backwards. It used to be that the rich had a sense of noblesse oblige. You know what? Maybe we should build a hospital, if only so the peasants don't revolt. But in America, we have this enormous class divide where the top 10% controls over 60% of the GDP and is unwilling to pay a little bit more for the next brand new iPhone, even if it means that their working class neighbors can afford to buy a home. I mean, it is so repulsive.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button for your boy. A nice quick one for you today. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.